Hello, future billionaires. Tyrone Dukes here, small business coach with Management Solutions. On today, I want to make an unscripted, unedited video for you based on a simple fact. I went to this event last week, and that event inspired me. And what I took away from that event and what I learned was that my followers on this YouTube channel really don't know the personal side to me. And I want to make sure my followers have an unedited, unscripted video that gets to know Tyrone Dukes. Because I believe this story will inspire you to pretty much go on and succeed and move on to be successful in life. And regardless of what obstacles or challenges that you're going through, I want to share my story with you. And I just wanted to empower you, inspire you, and help you get to the next level. And so, starting off with my background, right? So, I was born to a teenage mother. My dad, who helped plant the seed during that time, wasn't in my life. He planted the seed, and him and my mother continued to see each other off and on. And I really didn't see much of him, much of any at all. And so I grew up in my grandparents' house, my maternal grandparents' house, who pretty much cared and loved me and did any and everything that they could do for me. My actual mom got married later on in life. She married a gentleman who stepped in and became my father, and he had his own challenges. So I had the dad that planted the seed for me to be here that had his challenges, and the dad that actually married my mom to support me, he had his challenges. And both of them had challenges with substance abuse, right? And, when you have challenges with substance abuse, your focus is on the substance and not really on your family and help growing your family, because your mind is somewhere else. You're thinking about other things, right? And so that was their focus. And I didn't really understand that as a kid. I really, was kind of, terrified by some of the things I had witnessed, but that didn't stop me. That didn't break me, because I still had that love and affection that was coming from my grandparents' house. So fast forward, at the age of 9 years old, the actual man that I truly got to see raise and build a family from the age of 0 to 9, this man passed away, which was my grandfather. I got to tell you guys, that was devastating. That was a devastating blow for me, because I witnessed my grandfather pass away. And I got to tell you, that took a toll for me, because I had no idea what I was going to do at that point. However, my uncle, who was challenged, and my grandmother told me during the time while my uncle was challenged, because he dropped and fell off the bed and had pretty much brain damage. That's what I was told during the time. And so my uncle stepped in and showed me a little bit about hard work, and he pushed me to that level of hard work that I'm telling you, I've never seen in my life. So he pushed me from a young kid, and that hard work has really paid off for me as an adult. Fast forward to today, guys. I got to tell you, that's like hard work I've never seen in my life. And so fast forward, moving from that time, from watching my, grandfather pass, fast forward, I'm at my senior year in high school at this point, right? And my actual paternal grandmother passed. This is the paternal grandmother for which the father that actually planted the seed for me to be born. That was my paternal grandmother that passed. She passed away on Christmas Day. And the thing that was so devastating about this day, guys, was the simple fact that this was the first time that I had actually went out and purchased a gift for my grandmother, and I had learned that she had passed away. I went over there and took the gift anyway, but this was devastating to me, guys. It was such a devastation. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I was clueless. It was really mind-boggling. I was hurt, truly hurt by this. You got to realize I'm raised in a small town in South Carolina, coastal South Carolina. And, we have this, town of about probably 2,500 people during that time. I'm estimating, I think the town has about 3,000 people now. And in this very small town, everyone knows everyone, right? And one of the things that I had to grow up with during this time was, as a teenager, was the obstacles that both of my fathers faced, right? So I'm living in their shadow. Everyone made a prediction. The pundits made a prediction that I would come out and turn out to be exactly like them. So what they were level setting and betting against my life was that I was not going to be anything in my life. Simply because of my fathers, the father that planted the seed for me to be here and the father that actually helped raise me. They planted and put it out there that I was not going to be anything. And see, that was motivation for me. Even after, going through the loss of my actual maternal grandfather, the grandfather that the early part of stages of my life where him and my maternal grandmother helped raise me, to watch my maternal grandfather pass, that was devastating. But to also watch my paternal grandmother pass, that was devastating. In addition to living in the shadow of my fathers. But the story doesn't stop there, guys. There's another part to the story, because my actual paternal grandmother passed away on Christmas. 2 weeks later, my maternal grandmother passed. This is the grandmother that helped raise me the earlier part of my life. And I still continually spent a lot of time over her house. And she passed away. Guys, and this is all happening during my senior year in high school. That was a devastating blow. To have both of my grandmothers pass away 2 weeks apart, that was a blow. That was hurtful. I didn't know what I was going to do. That was a definitely blow, and it hurt bad. And I lived with that pain for a long time, guys. It was a long time that I lived with that pain. And I got to tell you, it was a blow for me to watch that. So she passed, and I also watched my maternal grandmother pass. It was a blow. And I continued to fight the obstacles of all these deaths, fight the obstacles of just living in the shadows of both of my fathers. And I just continued to fight those obstacles. And so it was my goal to actually leave that town, because there was so much pain and so much memories there that actually plagued me. And I knew I had to get out of there. I knew I was going to go to college, but I was uncertain about where I was going to go. So during my senior year in high school, after graduation, they had a small plant in my hometown. And so I worked at the small plant for 6 months. So I started dating one young lady, and she and I eventually broke up, and I started talking to my wife, the second young lady that I met. My wife is 8 years older than me. She's 8 years older than me. And I know you're sitting there saying, like, how in the world did this lady date this kid for which she's 8 years older during this time? And trust me, my wife knew that I was mature. She absolutely knew that I was mature. She absolutely knew that I was actually going to succeed in life and do great things. She knew that. She saw that in me. So it wasn't like she was dating this actual kid. She was dating a grown man that was young. That was sexy. Yeah, I can say it during the time. Yes, I was sexy. And I still believe I'm sexy, by the way. But yes, that she saw that in me. And my wife had a child. And I actually stepped in because her daughter, which is my daughter now, during this time, her father wasn't in her life. And so I stepped in this capacity. And so I went off to school. Like I said, I stayed home for 6 months. I went off to school in the Middle State, South Carolina, started school. Then my wife eventually moved to Middle State, South Carolina with me, and we started living together. And then 2 years later, we got married. But here's a part, another blip, guys. On our wedding day, there was this lady at the wedding that I heard about later that said that me and my wife, she'd be lucky if we lasted 1 year. She predicted, and again, this is another pundit making a bet. Now, you got to realize they're already making bets that I'm not going to be anything in life. So she's making a bet now at this point that we're not going to be married no longer than a year or two or whatever, and we're just going to be done. Fast forward 24 years later, guys, that lady lost her bet. 0. She didn't even score. The people that made a prediction and bet against my life that I was going to turn out like my dad's, they didn't score. 0. I'm in the lead. They're not going to score. And see, that's my job, to ensure they never score. Whatever prediction, whatever bet they make against my life, they're not going to score. And I'm continually succeeding and making sure that that's going to happen. Fast forward. Let's continue to talk about the story, guys, because it's going to get interesting at this point. At this point, so I'm married. And so now I'm 24 years old. You know, I got married at 21, but 24 years old, I'm making a decision. I said, you know what? Son, you need to buy a house. I'm sitting there thinking, you need to go out and buy a house. You can't have your family living in no apartment, man. So I go to this part of the neighborhood where it's really nice. You know, there's waterfalls going down on both sides of the entryway to the neighborhood. The neighborhood has multiple communities, has libraries, schools. I say this is a nice part of the neighborhood. It is nice. It is so nice that the prediction was made that, son, there's no way that you're going to go in that part of the neighborhood where there's not many of you that live there for people that look like you. So you know what they're saying, right? There's not many African Americans in that part of the neighborhood. So you're not going to make it there. And I'm like, really? That's not going to happen, because I don't believe there's any place on this earth that I can't go that I can actually get in there. If they got in there, I can get in there. There's no difference. They're just a different color. We got the same capabilities, same qualifications. I can't be stopped. And so I go in, I start dream building, planting seed in my head, planting these visions in my head of the neighborhood, planting the vision at 24 years old, guys, of me actually envisioning myself living there. See, this is key for you as a business owner, because you're going to have to do some dream building and plant seeds in your head. You have to continually plant. And see, this is what I was doing during that time. I was planting that seed. So I would go by after church every Sunday and go in this neighborhood. Went and talked to the builder. Had my home built in the neighborhood. Started at 24. By the time they finished the house, I was 25 years old. Me and my family, we're moving in this house. Again, the pundits didn't score. They got 0. I'm in the lead. They can't win. I'm still in the lead. So I closed in this house, 25 years old. Moved my family in. And again, at this point, so people saw that I moved in. So now I'm teaching people how to go out and buy their own homes. Again, they doubted me. Not paying me any attention. They're still doubting me. And my goal is to ensure that they don't score. Fast forward. My daughter, my youngest daughter, who's in the 8th grade now, in 2009, she was born a preemie 1 pound, 5 ounces. I remember the day she was born, the doctor looked me in my eye and she said, Tyrone, she had this sense of doubt. She said, your daughter, there's a good chance she's not going to make it. I looked that doctor in the eye. I said, ma'am, I'm not worrying about that. I'm not worrying about my daughter not making it. And the reason why I'm not worrying about my daughter not making it is because you're going to do everything in your power to ensure she makes it. I plant that seed, that doubt that she planted in my head. I wanted to sow the actual empowerment in her head to let her know, ma'am, I don't care what you just told me. You're going to make sure my daughter lives. And guess what? That little girl today is in 8th grade. She's actually a track athlete. She's really doing really well. She's pretty much not too far from hitting that superstar level. And I'm going to push her and empower her to ensure that she succeeds. The little girl that they doubted that was born 1 pound, 5 ounces, she's doing really well, and there's nothing wrong with her today. But if I allowed that doctor to plant that seed of doubt, she wouldn't have been here today, because as her father, As her leader, I'm going to do everything to ensure that she succeeds. And again, another story of doubt, guys. Another story of pundits pretty much making predictions against my life, against my success. They're not going to succeed. And see, that's what you got to continue to do in business. Every time someone sows doubt, every time someone tells you no or tell you you can't do anything, you got to continue to press forward. Let's continue on with this story. I'm going to share another element with you. So 2009, I was at this point looking to pretty much leave South Carolina. So I go to a gas station one day, and I knew, because I had started pretty much driving back and forth to Atlanta during this time, checking out the houses, dream building, right? Going through this process of dream building, planning, empowering my mind, right? So I go to a gas station, and at this gas station, this lady pulls up with the mattress on top of her truck, and she had little kids in the car. And I was, driving my Honda. I was at the gas station, and she looks and says, you have a nice car. And I said, thank you. And I said, I see that you got the mattress on top of your car. So where are you going? She said, oh, I just got a job, and I'm heading down to North Carolina. I just came from, moved from Florida. So I was sitting there looking at this lady, and I'm like, wow, she just left Florida with a mattress on her car. She has kids in her car, and she's going to North Carolina for a job. And again, this is during the time when, we pretty much was starting that peak and actually not starting. We was going through the recession at this point, going through a recession and through an economic downturn, because this is the period where the mortgages start to fold during this time. And this lady was going towards Charlotte for a job. And that was confirmation for me right then and there that said, Tyrone, hell or high water, you got to get out of South Carolina. I left South Carolina. I packed up. I actually had a garage sale, sold pretty much a lot of the stuff in our house. And I was looking for a job in Atlanta during this time. And I had certain things that I was working on, from home that I could do to make money from a business perspective. And I wanted to have the job first, but after witnessing that lady pretty much leave Florida, come to South Carolina with that mattress and those kids in the car, I knew that I had to go. So I left South Carolina without a job, went to Atlanta. When I got to Atlanta, that's when I got the job. That's when I got the job during that time. And the story is written, guys. It's written. I'm doing well. I'm succeeding in Atlanta. I'm doing really well. Again, people bet against me and said, you will not succeed. They pretty much predicted that once I left South Carolina, I was not going to succeed. And they lost again. Again, Tyrone's in the lead. They still have 0. The pundits did not score. And again, time and time again. One of the things I do want to share with you also, one of the things I forgot and left out, if I didn't share it, was my parents, my mom, and my actual dad that helped support and raise me. They had split shortly after, I would say 4 or 5 years later, after me graduating, probably 6-7 years actually, be exact. And so when my maternal grandmother died during that time, this is the part I think I left out. When she died, she pretty much left the house to her kids. And the kids left the house to my mom. And the reason why they left the house to my mom is because when my grandmother had got sick, she had help take care of my grandmother. So they left the house to my mom. And so when my parents got a divorce during this time, they got a divorce, and in the mix of that divorce, they lost my grandmother's home, my grandparents' home. They lost it. That was a devastating blow. Because you can imagine the pundits at this time, right? So they lost the house. And you can imagine the pundits are sitting around laughing and saying they lost their home. And I'm pretty sure they were laughing and just pretty much cutting cartwheels. But guess what, guys? You don't believe what happened. 2021, I bought the house back. The same lady that purchased the house when my parents lost it, I bought it from her back in 2021. To be exact, June 2021, I bought that house back. Again, the pundits thought they had scored. They thought they scored, but they lost again. Because how many stories do you see where people are losing something and what they lost, they get it back? And see, it's not by fate or destiny. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but it was higher power. And my faith is in God. And I got to tell you, that was God. God said, you know, you might have gone through the pain of seeing your grandparents' house lost, but you'll get it back. And I got to tell you, when that house came back around, and I bought it in June 2021, the story was written, guys. I knew right then and there, it was really confirmation. I had received confirmation after confirmation all throughout my life that as long as I put my faith in God and continue to believe, and regardless of what obstacles or challenges or doubts or what naysayers say about me, I'm going to continually succeed. I'm going to continually prove them wrong. They're not going to score. They're going to always have a score of 0. But you know what? That same mentality, that same hunger, that same power, that same passion, that's the same way I operate in business. I operate like that for my customers. I operate like that for you because I want you to know that you have someone that has power, that has a determination, that has a willingness, and that will ensure that you succeed. That as a business owner, that as an aspiring entrepreneur, as long as you continue to have faith, I'm going to continue to push you. I'm going to continue to nudge you. I'm going to continue to elevate you and always empower, ensure that you succeed. That's who you have supporting you. And the reason why I'm sharing that story with you on tonight, I want you to understand through all my obstacles, through all my pains, through all my trials and tribulations, that I'm still here. I'm still standing. And that's who you have fighting for you in your corner. For those of you that are actually going on jobs today, that you're burned out, you're tired, they're overlooking you, they're underpaying you, they're pretty much not listening to you, they're wanting you to conform to their standards. They don't want to let you grow. They want you to do it your way. They don't want you to operate in your passion, in your culture, because they don't understand you. Those days are over with, guys. You gotta let that go. You have to pretty much be determined. You have to be empowered. You got to know within a shadow of doubt in your mind that you have that willpower. You have the determination. You got to push, continually push, and know that you will succeed. See, I can tell you, I can empower you. I can fight for you. But if you are not willing to put in the effort and the work to pretty much make sure your business succeeds, then there's not much I can do for you. But what I can do for you, I will fight for you. I will vouch for you. I will push you. I will empower you. I will waste every last resource that I have to ensure that you succeed. That's what I will do for you. Based on my history, based on my background, based on my upbringing, based on the obstacles and challenges, and based on the times that I have to fight in my life, that's what you have in your corner. I want you to understand that. That's why I made that video on today, because I was inspired from last week through this actual event that I went to. I was inspired through that event to let my followers know on this YouTube channel, to let you know this is who you have on this corner. Yes, I know you guys see the guy that, maybe dressed nice and, have on, certain clothes or whatever that you like. It's not about that. It's about Who is the brains and operations behind what you're listening to? Who is empowering you? That's what you need to know about Beyond Today. And that's who I am. I am that man that's going to continue to push you, empower you, and motivate you and take you to that next level. I don't care if it's whether it's for you to start your business, to enhance your business. That's who I am. I'm going to use every last resource that I have. So whether it be in business coaching, business development, product development, IT solutions, I'm going to help you. I'm going to empower you to ensure that you succeed. So on this evening, guys, I just hope that what I've shared with you today is going to empower you and take you to that next level, because I want you to succeed. And I know that you are going to succeed. And the reason why I know that you're going to succeed is because I'm in your corner. I'm a fighter, and I'm not going to let you down. The pundits haven't scored yet, and I'm not going to let those pundits score on you. As long as you have me fighting in your corner, I'm not going to let you pretty much bow down to the pundits. They can sit there and talk about you all they want. They can sit there and say whatever. They can sit there and say that you're not going to succeed. They can sit there and say that you're never, they can sit there and tell you that you'll never be anyone. But guess what? Talk to me. I believe in you. I don't care what your walks or what background of life that you've come from. I don't care what hood. I don't care what city. I don't care where you come from. Because if I took myself by the bootstraps after all that negativity, after everything that I've went through, after all those obstacles and challenges, guess what? I can do the same thing for you. I will do the same thing for you. God bless you. Have a great evening. And guess what? Continue to be blessed. And I'm going to do everything in my power to ensure that you succeed. Billionaire.